Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network, where me and Albin Larsson, I'm Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata live. Hello, Albin. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing great. I've had a lovely day in the yard, actually, in the garden. So I'm really excited for doing some Wikidata stuff now.
All right.
How are you, Jan?
I'm good as well. I've been outdoors a little bit today and preparing for this session in my neighborhood.
Right.
Right. So what are you going to do today?
I am going to do advanced map visualizations with just Wikidata SparkQL and an external tool called KeplerGL. So we will do, the most advanced thing we will do is an interactive timeline on a map.
Nice. I think.
And you, Jan, you said you had prepared something.
Yes. So I'm going to do something more basic and easy. I'm going to do some mostly manual editing on items in my neighborhood. And some of that will be adding some pictures. So that's what I've been preparing. I've been out taking some photo. We had some lovely weather here today. And I'm actually doing this because I'm in a new neighborhood. So I'm like, there's lots of stuff to do. And I think this is also something that, hello, Niklas. Anyone could do. So this is going to be something like if you want to do something basic editing and see how does my neighborhood look like in Wikidata. So this is going to be the thing for you. So I'm going to start.
This might be a reason to move every now and then.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one might think like, why is it necessary to like do some manual editing on this level in Wikidata? That's not going to get us that far because we're not that many Wikidatans. But I think it's quite important because it gets streets and stuff showing up when they are richer. So they will be found by Sparkle. And also since Wikidata in general always needs more data, if someone comes by and see this, they might be inspired. Well, all right, I can do this with a tool or some other way. So see this as a sort of an introduction, perhaps.
Yeah.
So this is the tool that I'm using, and it's a pretty awesome tool. Made, of course, by the magnificent Magnus Manske. And it's called Wikishootme, which sounds a little bit harsh, perhaps, but it's like it's in an invitation from the items on the map to go out and photograph them, take photos of them. And on this map, we see a bunch of dots. And all of these dots are somehow connected to Wikimedia. There are different types of dots here. So we see the blue ones. These are images with coordinates on commons. And then we see here we have a yellow one. This is a Wikipedia article with a coordinate. And then the green and red ones are Wikidata items with or without an image. So the red one here does not have an image, but a very easy way to upload one. And let's say the green one, let's take this bridge, has an image. Perfect. So with this tool, you can like explore the richness of data in your neighborhood. And yes, and Nicholas says, yes, we always need more data. So this is a very nice tool. First, just explore a little bit, like what does it look like? What kind of items is there? And someone's asking me, is this my hoods? And yes, I just recently moved here. So that's why it's still so much red. So we're going to try to change some of the red to the greens. I guess this is how Wikipedians and Wikimedians are doing it, like starting close and going outwards.
If someone is interested, they can look how Visby looks like. Central Visby. Both Jan and I have lived there, and
Yes,
the
it's quite
Wikidata
rich.
coverage is very good.
Yeah. And of course, I'm very lucky here because I live in Amsterdam, and all the streets already have items, which makes it a lot easier. And we also see here a lot of listed buildings, lots of listed buildings in Amsterdam. And since the Netherlands were the ones starting with Wikilove's monuments, most of that is already covered. But we're going to start somewhere, and let's see, where do I want to go first? I've been taking photos of many things today, but let's go with here. We have this street. I'm going to click on this one, Parelstraat. Missing an image, so I'm just going to click upload here, and I have hopefully a Parelstraat over here. And it's uploading. If this is the first time, you're going to need to do some authorization with OAuth. And we have a question here from Nicholas saying, yes, been to Visby, very few photos to take. Well, you can always take more and better, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we started with night and day photos at one end. And of course, 360 degrees photographs.
Yes. And here we have a perhaps more tricky and relevant question. Are all streets relevant for a Wikidata object or item? And I'm not really sure about that. So when we did it in Visby, we took the easy way and did everything within the city walls. And all of these are very old streets. So they have listed buildings all over the things. And now we can see it already uploaded my image here, and it shows. So let's see what happened on. This is a link to the Wikidata item. So let's open that one. Already had it open, but now it will reload. I'm going to zoom in, and it was quite good because it's already added it here to the item. So I just clicked upload, and it did something, and it added. So it did a few edits here in my name. And we can see what else does it have here. We have an instance of street, country, located in the administrative territorial entity, Amsterdam, coordinate, start time, street address. This is a quite good start. I think I want to start by adding a place here as well, or location. Because this will, let's see, neighborhood of Amsterdam, Wittenberg. But I'm also going to check here what happened on Commons, because this might need some categories or stuff. But for first, we could add the structured data here. That didn't happen by default. That should probably be an easy upgrade.
Indeed.
It's quite prominent. Published that. And let's see, no categories at all. So I think this one has Parelstraat Amsterdam. Yes, great. Oop. What happened now? Editing a prior. Is someone in here doing stuff? Let's see the history. Or did it was slow saving?
Right, the structured data.
Yeah. All right, so there we go. Could probably add something more categories, but I'm going to start with this because I'm not actually going to focus on the commons here, but this one is important, I think, because I'm going to actually copy this and go back here. And here I'm not really sure still, after all this time, what is the best way to add the commons category. We have this commons category property, but we can also add it with down here, commons Then we'll add the category. And I think that is the one that actually makes it connected through the Wikidata info box. So now we can go to this one over here. Or just two things. You can see where I'm going here.
Yeah.
So no, it's more commons that I thought first, but this is such a cool thing. So I want to show it, the info box. No, it's called the opposite, Wikidata. Or is it? I don't know, I'm unsure.
Let's see.
Ah, that seems good. So let's save that. What else do we have here on Parallelstrat? Yes, so you can already see here I prepared a night image. And that's, of course, also is it called night image? Nighttime view.
Right.
Another property. And then you already said in the intro here the 360 images. And here we have this. Oh, Nicholas, stealing our show. Yeah. All right. All good. So I guess this is no. Yes, should only be one. I'll have to refresh here and see. Now we have two, and now I'll remove one of them and hope that not both are getting removed. And for 360 images, we have a website called Mapillary, which is sort of a crowdsourced street view site where the images are CC BY, or maybe CC BY SA, but at least they're compatible. Yeah, they're compatible, and you can find it on mapillary.com. And what's pretty cool is that in Amsterdam, they have cars with 360 images that goes around the city to take photos after cars that are parked wrong. Oh. And they go around every once in a while, and they seem to have some collaboration with Mapillary. So we have like a 2 or 3 runs of these on here. So I'm going to zoom in here on Parallelstrat, see if we can find something like somewhere in the middle. And this is a quite decent 360 image.
Indeed.
So we'll go copy this share link. And then we have another very handy tool called Mapillary to Commons. Yes. So it's a little bit of a tricky URL, but if you just go with the first one, it will be a link there to the full. But here it's very easy. You just paste what you just copied, and it will look up, and you will say, oh, you have to describe this, and I'm going to call this Parallelstrat 360. Good if I could spell it right, Parallel. And here as well, it's the OAuth thing you need to go through first, and I already did it. So this one actually starts uploading it immediately, and now it's done. This one doesn't add any categories, so I have to go here and make sure.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, I don't think so. No, it's totally empty down here. So we'll add a few. So we'll add the Parallelstrat Amsterdam, and we can go with what, May 2016.
As the person who maintained this tool, I should probably fix that.
Nah. Yes, please do. Yeah. So this is going to be simple. This one can also be better, of course. But as a start, so here we have now a 360 image. We'll go back to Parallel Street here. And now let's see. I think this is, it's not called 360, it's called photospheric image. There we have it.
Yeah, and it's easy to get confused with one, I think. You lost a P at the start.
There we go. Yes. And then I think I'm usually doing it like I'm moving forward a little bit to get a little bit of a different kind of view. I'll go to the share here again, copy that. And then we have, let's see. Street, no. Ground level 360-degree view, which expects a URL. So now we have two ways of getting here.
Right.
So that's quite a lot of images. Now we have a few of them. What else could we go? I think we could go with, did I add location? Yes, I did. So let's go also with terminus, which is the endpoints of the street.
Oh, to connect them with the other ones.
Yes. So now we're starting building up a network here. So
yeah.
Let's see here on wikishootme. I think it starts on the Kleine Wittenbergerstraat and goes to the Weigat. All right. So
Nicholas says that now we need a winter view, and in case there will be a winter, I assume that Jan will solve
yeah,
that.
Yeah. At least I will try. And I guess it might not be easy to see it is winter because last winter we didn't have any snow. So that's one end, and then we had the Weigat, not in Curacao. I didn't expect that many Weigats. More.
Could you use the wikishootme to look up the item? Right.
I could, but we found it here. So that's the terminus. This one didn't have anything in between, but then we could add connects with as well. And
right.
I think that's most I'm going to do with this one. So I'm going to show a few other things one can do as well. So I'll go back to wikishootme and see what do we have here. We had this thing, Wikipedia article. So we have a church here. And I guess this is the church item on Wikidata. So let's look that one up. Church building. I already did a nighttime view over there. But I think there's something more we can do. We can go with image of reverse. And Osterkerk back. There we have it from today. So this is the church from the backside.
Right.
And of course, image of reverse is not going to be applicable to everything. Like for street, I don't know if you can have a reverse image of it.
If it's a one-way street, I imagine.
Yes. We have some question here. Eric is asking, can you create new Wikidata objects from wikishootme? I don't think so. I think this is only for enriching data that's already there. So you'll have to create it elsewhere, but you can add stuff to it here, or find it. And then a question from Galder here, or inside view. Yeah, there's an interior view, but I haven't actually been able to go into this church. I'm not sure if it's open for public. Can this part be scrapped from OSM? You mean the where they are connected and so? Possibly, yes.
That is usually a problem with the license of OSM.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's commonly scraped the Orchard way around.
Yes. But this is one thing that the image of reverse, probably not a lot of the Wikidata items already have that. So that's something that you easily can enrich on Wikidata, and probably even go out and take photos, because not all the things have photos from the backside. So that's an easy way to improve things.
A way to climb over a couple of fences, usually, and things like that.
Yeah, well, don't do any trespassing. I'm not endorsing that. And then I think, let's see, where we have the. Sometimes these now I can't find that the coordinates for the streets end up in weird places. So those could probably be improved. Well, I'm just gonna look it up here. So because for the Burgergracht, my pronunciation is probably not that good. There's a lot of things missing here, but I want to show you something new. So even for something like streets, you could add a video. So there's a property for video, and let's see, Burgergracht. Bus WebM. Now, this video is not the best one, so you could have videos going down the street. This one is standing still and just showing you the traffic going past by it, but at least you can see there's one of the mainline buses going through here. So it shows you a little bit of how it looks. And if you have sound, now I don't think I share it through here, you can also hear the level of noise on the street. So it adds some sort of value, perhaps.
We always need more data.
Yeah, we always need more data. Let's go back to the parallel strat here. So we had the terminus on the Kleine-Wittenberger strat. So let's add the terminus for that one as well to start building a net. So this one ends at the Wittenberger, and in the other end, I'm not sure what the name of that one is. Windrosplein. So we'll publish that. What was the spelling? Double O. There we have it. So now we have like more of them hanging together, but this one also was quite long. So we can add the other statement here, connects with, and we'll see. So this one connects with the parallel strat. We already knew that because that one, not in Groningen, in Amsterdam. Oh, all right. So it should have both connects and terminus, according to this. All right, let's go for that. So not only terminus.
Yeah, on the Orchard one, yeah.
Yeah, but it only had a terminus there. But it wanted
Right.
connects as well. So I guess that's correct. Like it has two relations. It both terminates and connects.
Yeah. Okay.
So for a street like this, it will always be duplicate then, because this one connects, of course, with this one as well.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
Seems a little odd.
Yeah, seems like a bit of an anti-pattern.
Yeah. I have to go here.
Now we're stuck.
No, an infinite loop. Well, if I only add connects here, we'll stop it. In Amsterdam, yes. And while I'm here, I'm going to add the place, location.
Nicholas wonder if you know what it's named after, the street.
That's a very good question. So I'm going to show you one of them, because one of them I do know. So the parallel I don't know, but this one, the Kleine Wittenberger Gracht, this Wittenberger Straat, it's named after the neighborhood of Wittenberg. So here we have it twice. So we can add the name, spell right. There we have it, named after Wittenberg. Neighborhood of Amsterdam. And then I thought, of course, oh, this neighborhood is probably named after some of these other things that are also named Wittenberg. Turns out it's not. It's a made-up name of two people who created this neighborhood, and they don't have the Wikidata item yet. Did I not click the Amsterdam? There we go. And we can see it in over here somewhere if we zoom in.
Could you try a thing here? We actually got a suggestion that you can create a new item using this if you right-click.
So I will right-click somewhere. Let's see if I know somewhere. So we do have. Is this already? This is already a Bruch. But if it weren't, let's see. Create new item Wikidata items at this position.
Right.
That's very handy. I did not know that.
Indeed.
Thank you.
It's actually handy even. Yeah.
Yeah. That's super nice. So where were I? I was adding things here, but I'm actually going to stop adding things and just do a very quick query. So I'll go to query.wikidata.org. I'll go for select. Oh, I ran it. That's not what I'm going to do. I want to have a street label. That's all I want. And you can already see by me adding label here, I want to add the service. So service and then control space bar to get this one. So I don't have to figure this one out. I'm going to change the auto language to NL because I think that will be a sure bet here. And I want street, something that is a street or some kind of street. I'm not sure how well. Oops. This is. So this is street or a subclass of a street, and this is sort of a pattern where you usually learn this by heart after a while because you add it in all the time.
This is called a property path.
Yes.
It's used to find things in hierarchies.
Yeah, and it's great. And I want to start with street and then types of street. I don't know the item for street. I know it's quite low. This one is the one I want. And I also want this one to be location, which is 276 in Wittenberg. And the right Wittenberg there. And let's just see what we get. We have 4 results now. And let's try this little visualization thing here now with the graph builder and see if they're... No, that's not the one I wanted.
No, that's the advanced one.
Yeah, I want to just show the graph. Oh no, did I break it? Ah.
Yeah, but if you scroll down, you already you have the results still.
I have the results. Yeah. All right. Huh, they're not connected.
No, because you haven't selected the connections themselves. What happens if you click them? Do they? No, they just go there.
So I'm just gonna do a quick shortcut here and copy and paste from somewhere else that I have prepared beforehand, like a chef.
Right.
When I too inept to actually do it live. So here's another one. This one is actually Visby, so let's show... No, this is Wittenberg, so let's see. No. So this was not the one I wanted. Let's see if I can get back to... Now my copy and paste skill is even bad. What, is it the chords that make them click together? I'm not sure here.
I think it's the property.
Because I'm pretty sure this one will. Why are these connected, but not the other one?
If you scroll up to the query, let's see.
The street in Gotland. Optional.
Right.
Coordinates. Wait, this is not coordinates. This is terminus. So that's where I'm getting it.
No.
Ah.
Because you're asking for the property.
I got tricked there. All right. Well, I'm not.
But this is a pretty cool graph, Visby.
Yes. So here we can zoom in and see how all the streets are connected. You can easily find streets that are going through the entire city, like Mellangatan or Strandgatan, who's going all by this shoreline. And these are not even using the connected with. These are only terminus.
Yeah.
But there are a few streets here outside the city walls, because now I selected every street on Gotland. But like I think there are 109 streets within the city walls, and most of these are them.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what happens when someone lives in Visby for too long.
Yes, this is what happens. You get data that is connected. So yeah, that's what I was about to show you, what you can do in your neighborhood and enrich the data on Wikidata with, like, having a walk outdoors and then go in and edit a little bit.
Super cool. And I'm not gonna do so much editing actually, but I'm thinking I'm gonna show what one of the end results we will be creating today. And this is a timeline map over battles over time, which is interactive like this. I can play it, and I have the years mentioned down here. And it just visualizes battles, but also I can zoom in and look at it. I can change this. I can pause it. See, let's get the battle. This is battles over the last 500 years, all of them in Wikidata. So I'm just gonna, oops. And it just happens to be super simple to make this type of map using a tool called KeplerGL. But I am gonna start from a rather basic Wikidata query. I've actually selected this one. I'm not gonna write it from scratch, but this is the typical Wikidata map visualization you see. I am selecting all glaciers or subclasses of glaciers with a property graph, and I am selecting the coordinate and the label. As basic and like that, and I get this typical visualization, which is really great, but we can do even more. So to make it work with this KeplerGL tool, I need to make some changes, because if I go to the table here and show you what the data actually looks like, you see the coordinate, it's using GKT notation for expressing coordinates, and that doesn't necessarily work with this tool. So what we will need to do is to break up the latitude and the longitude into two separate columns. And you might think, oh, that's super simple. We convert this value to a string and split that space, but no, we don't, because you can't convert this to a string. But it happens to be even simpler. So I think we've shown this once before, that, for example, if you want the qualifiers and things like that, you can't select it using VDT because you need the statements about the statements rather than the value. So we would do something like P here to select the information about the statement. And then it happens to be, because the coordinate is a custom type of data in Wikibase, we can actually select the latitude and longitude rather easily. I'm gonna copy paste something here that I have prepared. So essentially, I'm looking at an order value here. It's a node containing the latitude, longitude, and latitude separately. I'm gonna move this. This is gonna confuse me forever, otherwise. We're doing this for real. We are starting with the latitude. And in that node containing those values, actually Wikibase actually already store latitude and longitude separately. So I can here do lat low. And if I run this now, we will see that it's unable to display result map, but it has split latitude and longitude in two separate columns. And that is what we need. So going from this, I am gonna download this file. I'm actually gonna share it with you first, in case you would actually like to follow along. Let's see. Like that, you can get this exact query. And I'm gonna download this as a CSV file. So I've downloaded it as a CSV file. I don't think you can see that, but now I'm gonna go to another tool, KeplerGL, just like that in your browser. And it is super handy. I'm gonna go straight to it. I'm gonna just type it for .gl, and it will be a fancy web page here saying that make an impact with your location data. And we are just gonna skip all the text here and click get started. And then it says drag and drop your files here, and we are gonna select that exact CSV file that we used, and it will upload it, and you can see here that I have a layer called query28.csv. The typical, if you use the query service a lot, that number goes up and you clean it out in a while. And because my columns was named latitude and longitude, it kind of already could plot it directly on the map and create a layer here for me. I'm gonna change the color of this point to something that looks a little better. I want this one.
Already easier We need a color picker on our query service.
Yes. And this tool is super, super powerful. So it understands that this is a point, but I can also then hex bin. I want a hex bin map of this. Now you can't see anything because they are really small and weird. But if I drag this radius up, we can see that we're getting hexagons created. And it has a ton of layers like this that it understands automatically. We can turn this into grid and everything is just boxes. But I'm gonna keep with the hex bin for now for this map. And it happens to sort it. So if we scroll here on Svalbard and actually look what it means, it has aggregated each point. For example, this hex bin, it means that here are 3 points, 3 glaciers, and it has color scale here. We can change. We can have this one where the darker green are more glaciers, but we can change even more things here. We can change the color scale, the radius, the height. This is super useful if we for example select, we can say the area of the glacier, how large it is. If we have a column for that, we can select that as a value here and make that the height. Let's see, height based on point, for example, now, and I can click a button here to make it 3D, and we can see that they have different heights based on, for example, here there are 44 glaciers. That's a little higher, that hexagon. This is 68, it's also a little higher. This has 82 glaciers, it's a little higher. So it's incredibly powerful, and I can actually share this map. I can share it using a URL. Share map URL. I could use that using Dropbox or Carto, which is Carto is another map service. And I can share the HTML of this and a lot more. I can change the background map. Let's say we don't want to see the label here. You could see Greenland Sea disappearing. I don't think we need roads for a map like this. I don't think we need buildings, but I only want water and land there actually. And I don't like the dark one, I want it to be light. So I'm gonna scroll it up. And I'm holding Control while I'm dragging here, and that gives me the 3D view as long as I have it enabled here. So this is super handy, and I just made a small changes to the Wikidata query, and I could just import it here. But this is even more. It has something called interactions and tooltips. So I can here, if I hover over, I'm gonna change from hexpin again. It's super easy to point. So we got our points again. And if I go back to interactions, you can see that tooltip, item label. And if I hover over a point, I can see that it says the item, the Wikidata URI, and the item label. But if I remove the item here, I would just have the item label, and I could do things like that. But even cooler is if I go back here, I can select a label for the point. Let's do that. I'm gonna click item label. And now it happens to be, let's switch back to dark map here. Muted night. It sounds like a cool map. And it actually adds a label to it. So for example, here I can see that this probably had duplicate coordinates. And in general, it's just so easy to read and see here. So it's super, super useful. But as you saw in my first example, we can do real advanced things like a timeline, an interactive timeline. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a little more complex, but I'm going to do that one from scratch. So I'm going to keep a couple of things here. Now I want to go and select battles because it was something I thought of that would be interesting to visualize. And would also have a date usually. And that was not really good of me. I still want a subclass of battle. It could be a naval battle, for example.
We have a question from Ture here. Can it be used for cities also in a detailed level on the map?
Yeah, I can actually show it here. If I would turn on a couple of things like roads and labels, border. Let's see if I can scroll down to Oslo. Oops. Then if I end up scrolling in, it will start appearing. Let's add buildings as well. Now I'm trying to identify where I am, and you can see that it appears like a city here. And I even think we can have 3D buildings. Yes, you can see it. Here in central Oslo, it will actually render 3D buildings for you. So it has a lot of things like that. And you can even, if you have a 3D model on Commons, you can add that here as well, actually. It has endless capabilities. It's not always easy. Sometimes you need to learn things, but that's it.
That's why we're here.
I changed here. Yeah, exactly. I changed here to battle. That's all I did. But I also want this date to be able to actually make a timeline out of it. So that would be item bdt bdt point in time. Point in time. Again, trying to make it simple for me. But I don't want everything. I actually only want the battles for the last 500 years or so. Because also if it's too far back, it becomes negative dates prior to year one, and that tends to require a bit of more work. So I'm gonna do filter, a super basic one, and I'm gonna say year. It's a SparkQL function that takes the time and just gives you the year, because the time could very often be more precise. So I'm gonna pass in timer. Should be bigger than 1500. Gonna run this just to see how many items we get. About 4,000. Makes sense. But next up, we actually need to format this. So now I didn't select it. Let's select it so I can show it to you. That's a classic by now. And I didn't call it year because it's still time. And now we should get something, I hope. Yes, so you can see we get the entire date here. And I want to format this in a way that makes KeplerGL understand that it is a date. If I go back here to my previous map and click on layers here, I can actually show you that it understands that the item is just a string. It says that the item label is also a string. It says that the latitude is a float. So we need to make sure that it says time here for next value. So going back here, we want to do select time as, not time, actually, I just want to go with year as a precision here as well. Let's spell here, like that. Thank you very much, Alban. And again, let's convert this just to a year. And I'm making it hard for myself. And now we would just get a year here. It says the year, simple like that. But that is not enough for this tool to understand that this is time. So we need to add both the actual time in the end, like this is the hour, and actual dates, like 1st of January. So I'm gonna convert this to string so we can actually work with it in that form with the SparkQL function for string. And I'm gonna say concat, which we use for merging strings. And it takes another one a second here as input, like that. And to the end here, I'm just gonna append 0.01 for January. I'm just gonna invent my own here, and 01 for 1st of January, and then the time is gonna be 00, 00, 00, 00. So it's rather precise. I'm gonna run this to see if I did everything the right way. It's not every day.
So here's a question similar to the coordinate thing. Isn't it stored almost like this already?
Yes, it is almost like this, but it has a couple of more things.
Yeah.
So it's, again, just like the coordinates, is the custom data format. But it has things like time zones, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So if we would just get the date here as a string, it would say something like to mark that it's UTC at the end. So that is why I'm doing it using a string instead.
Yeah. But I guess that is ISO 8601, and wouldn't Kepler understand that? Because that's a quite common data format.
It might, but for example, with battles and historical things, Wikidata usually have dates from more than one calendar. And then it breaks down.
Yes.
So this is a bit of a hack to go around that.
Yep.
But looking at the results here, we get all the dates. They are made up. Everything is 1st of January, but it's good enough. We don't need that precision in our visualization. So again, I'm gonna start by copying the URL here and share it with you in case you want to follow along. And there we go. In case you want to download it, I'm gonna go back, download the CSV, go back to KeplerGL, click get started, just upload this. Let's see. Of course, now it's 29 for me. And we got a lot of points here. And this is great. I'm gonna leave this color here actually for now. But I'm gonna go to another one called filters here and click add filter. And here I can select all my fields, and we can see that next to year here, it says time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just show this. You can actually make filters of everything here and then filter by values, for example. But that's not really what we want. We want one of those nice time here. And it directly creates a timeline like this in which we can show things. We can click the play. It already shows us something. Can do it like that. And it keeps going. And essentially, we are done here with a timeline if we want to.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, let's see if this works across. So I'm gonna move again to a Hexpin map. And let's see if this works with the timeline. Oh, of course it does. Yes. And it works in 3D at the same time. Let's turn on the height as well. Not very easy. There aren't a lot of platypuses. If we make this a little bigger here and goes to one of the wars.
Is the elevation there scale? If you pull that one, will it increase a lot?
So let's do that. Let's make it a lot bigger. 100.
Yes.
Yeah, so it works pretty well. And I think if you click these 3 dots here, you can actually change the type of scale. So it's a liner right now. But there are a lot to play with here. And for example, we could use an entirely different value there. If we select buildings in Wikidata and we select their height, then we can make that value be the height here. So You can make really advanced stuff this way. And you can also make other things. If for example, you select more than one coordinate in each of your tables, you can create lines between things, and we would here select latitude, longitude, and then for the next columns we could be latitude 2 and latitude 3 and so on. And it would draw lines in between things, and it would still work with timelines and things like that. And of course we can change the background map here as well, and that's just no, here it popped up, and things like that. So this is incredibly powerful, and it's so easy to get started from within SparkQL. And yes,
getting ideas.
Yes, that's great, Nicholas. This is I played around with this week, and it's just turned out to be so simple, and the ideas just pops up. And as I mentioned, you have a share option here. You can export it as an image. You can share the URL if you got Dropbox or something like that, but you can also download the HTML, for example, if you want, and upload it on your own site for Orchard to place with.
So, Wikimedia related question here. So, if I make something like a cool image here with a map, what's the license for it for me to upload it to Commons?
Yes, so that's one of the trigger points. This background map is in copyright.
Oh, right. So
it is based on OpenStreetMap, but it is so enriched with data, so it's still not. It's in copyright, so to say. But I think because I have done this a couple of times with really advanced things, I think I can actually show. Let's see. I used this tool a while back for more advanced. So this is an example of where I have exported this map to. Let's see if it loads still. To my own website. Yes, and it's a 3D map, but it has what I said, lines between things. And it's again, this is a visualizations about news in 1645 and how it got to Sweden. So it just plays that for a single year. So it's very interesting. For example, you see that a lot of news passed through Hamburg because I think Sweden had more or less an early ambassador, or it was just a diplomatic center during this time. And because you can export
might even
it,
be possible that was the time when we were in a lot of wars. It might be
yes,
it might have been under our control at the time.
Yeah, I think Hamburg actually was like a neutral area for diplomatic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But indeed, it was during the war. But Hamburg is still a central point because of that. So because I have exported this as my own HTML using, let's see, click share, export data, not export data, export map, and I can select HTML. So you can actually in there modify and add your own layer, including the Wikimedia Foundation's background maps. So it works, but it requires you to actually change a bit of code. It's not very straightforward.
Here comes a question from Galder. Wait, how are you plotting news? So this is actually a longer story, I guess, but we made an effort and digitized one of the earliest newspapers from Sweden in 1645, the entire year, and all the reports with where they were from and when they were sent. So we had that data separately. And I think you can go to, I'm going to share you the address for the background story for that.
So this map itself is not based on Wikidata. I made this, must have been 2 years ago now. But you could essentially do this type of thing, not necessarily with this data because it's not in Wikidata. But if it were, you would be able to do this.
So, add banner, show banner. Here's the entire site, and if you and then also we publish this as a WordPress from 1645, so you see everything there. So that's how it's stored. But if you go to the about page there, you can read a lot about it, how it was done and the workflow. I presented this in Wikimania in Mexico, I think. So if you watch the video from there,
right, yeah, and this
Mexico. Must have been later than Mexico, but yeah.
And I based this map upon that data, actually creating a new data set, very much based on that. But I don't think there are plenty of news actually in Wikidata. I'm sure it's relevant enough. Maybe news from 400 years ago.
Yeah.
But
so these are also on Wikisource, but they are not tagged in the same way there yet. So we're thinking about how to tag things on Wikisource.
So if the Wikimedia Foundation ever does as it does with Commons and add structured data to Wikisource, which would be amazing, one could do really cool visualizations this way.
Indeed.
Right, I think that is what I had to show, actually.
All right, that was some pretty neat maps and map tools.
Yeah. You can, I mean, in case this was a Friday, I might have ended up killing some weekends this way, but at least you got half your weekend this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this, you can change a lot of stuff in here. You can change your own colors. You can actually add. So what we did now, we added one with a glacier query, and we added one with battles, but we could actually combine those and upload 2 layers as well.
Yeah. Yes, Nicholas, we need to talk about this more.
Yeah,
let's have a chat about this because I think that's can be pretty cool.
We always need to talk more about Wikisource. That's the problem with Wikisource.
Yeah. Well, great. I think that's all for now. And I hope everyone enjoyed and learned something, and have a nice weekend, and we'll see you later.